Alright, this is the first part of the explanation video of the journal entry that I did in the last video. Before that, let's read the disclaimer. Okay, so first of all, take a look at the first transaction, which is an expense transaction. The expense account appears on the first position, and you can look up that GR account number from the description of the expense tab. If you look at the GR account number formula, our result GR account number is determined by the lookup column. When we trace to the journal's lookup column, we're looking up from the master's debit 1 column. That's why we get this expense account. Now let's move on to the second position. This is also determined by the journal's lookup column. We trace to the journal's lookup column again and look up from the master's debit 2 column. So that's how we get the second GR account number, right? If you notice, we follow the same pattern that we use the journal's lookup column to grab the GR account number from the free debit and credit columns on the master table. For expense transaction, the expense itself is on position 1, the debit 1 position. The tax is on debit 2. The invoice total, which is represented in the accounts payable, is on the credit 1 position. Therefore, you still see the GR account number on position 4. If the expense is settled on the same day of the invoice, then we credit the bank account where you enter to the expense interface. After crediting the bank on position 6, we have to debit the accounts payable on debit 3 position. There's nothing on credit 2 position for an expense transaction. Let's move on to the income transaction. Here in the position 1, we debit the accounts receivable to hold the invoice amount. The income is credited on position 4 to hold the net amount. Position 5 is credit to store the tax payable amount for transaction 5. Position 3 is debit if money is received at the invoice date. The same amount will also be credited to the accounts receivable at position 6. Let's go to journal entry 7. This is an interbank transaction between the two internal bank accounts. Here at the position 3, we debit the deposit bank, where you can find it from the fund transfers deposit bank column. On position 6, we credit the withdrawal bank from the fund transfer. For the payment transaction, we'll credit the bank account at the position 6, where you can find it from the payment interface under the withdrawal bank column. At the position 3, we'll debit the accounts payable for the payment amount. For the cash collection, we debit the bank account at the position 3, where the receipt amount is from the receipt interface. The same amount will then be credited to the accounts receivable at the position 6. Once we get the GR account number done, we can use it to return a GR account name from the chart of accounts. Here you see the reference column that can be matched with the GR account number from the journal entry. That's the match part of the GR account numbers. You know that we can switch the display language. That's how we do it. We use the journal's language cell, which is this one. To match to the column head from the chart of accounts.